right, S&P futures, actually futures across the board, green today. Slightly green, but green nonetheless. S&P futures up 0.2 here today. Dow futures up 0.14%, and the NASDAQ leading the way higher, up 0.3. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session. Sectors that gained and lost on Wednesday reflected a divergent market as energy and information technology stocks bucked the overall trend to close higher. Most other sectors on the S&P 500 finished in the red, with consumer discretionary, healthcare, and consumer staples recording the biggest losses. This split performance led to a mixed close for U.S. stocks, with the S&P 500 surging to new highs, while the Dow index fell more than 200 points. The positive sentiment was driven by wholesale price data as the producers' price index slipped 0.1 in August, contrary to expectations of a 0.3 increase. Wholesale inflation also slowed sharply on an annual basis, declining from 3.3% to 2.6%. AI-linked stocks rallied. Stop me if you've heard that before. AI stocks rallied, fueled by investor optimism that artificial intelligence will boost earnings growth after Oracle announced a massive backlog of AI-related orders. In contrast, shares of Chewy tumbled by around 17% on Wednesday following the company's release of its second quarter results. Now, today, U.S. futures were rising this morning, but we, of course, wait the CPI. Economists forecast that the August Consumer Price Index will show headline inflation climbing to 2.9% year over year, up from 2.7% in July. If confirmed, that would be the highest annual pace since January of 2025. Thursday's sentiment was driven by wholesale price data as the PPI index slipped 0.1 in August, contrary to the 0.3 expectation. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.05%, and the 2-year bond was 3.55%. U.S. CPI year over year for August in line, 2.9% versus the 2.9 estimate. U.S. CPI month over month for August, a little bit hot, 0.4 versus the 0.3 estimate. Remember, I think we just talked or we looked at the Goldman Sachs estimate. I think their estimate was 0.36, came in at 0.4 here. Core CPI month over month for August in line, 0.3 versus the 0.3 expected. And the U.S. initial jobless claims, 263,000 versus 235,000. The prior was revised from 237 to 236, so a little bit of a revision right there.